Okay, this is Dan Kerr. Today is Adams Morgan Day 2023. It's September 10th. And could you tell us your names?
My name is Vernon Suggs.
And my name is Perry Suggs.
And could you tell us a little bit about what brought you here today?
Well, we came here to just actually to honor the new thing and this community and how Adams Morgan Day meant a lot to us, and over the years, the many times that we've been here, and how we contributed to to it by being participants of the new thing, Art and Architecture Center. And just to share a little bit about how we came up in the new thing. What was it, 40 years ago, 40 or 50 years ago?
Something like that,
Yeah, 1968.
And I believe we're on the corner of 18th and Belmont.
Yes.
You were raised on Belmont?
Yes.
Yes, we lived at 1802 Belmont Road, Northwest.
And what was the neighborhood like at that time when you first started getting involved with the new thing?
It's a lot different than now. It was, it wasn't as busy. You could tell the difference in the culture and the lifestyle from then and now. It was totally different. Things changed a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah, and this neighborhood was going through a transition again. Many times it's flipped. I've seen this neighborhood flip over, and it was mainly families, a lot of families, family homes with families. We were one of the few big black families around here. And we were fortunate enough to be able to live in the brownstones like 1802, because my mother had 7 kids. And, the neighborhood was going through, once again, the opioid epidemic back in the 70s and through. So, it was a lot of urban plight going on, stuff like that. You had a lot of young people that were sort of misplaced because of the drugs and the, being poor, especially black families. But it was organizations like the new thing, the Ontario Lakers, the Marie H. Reed, the community center, which was on Seaton Street years ago. Bishop Reed, she was one of the pioneers of everything. Matter of fact, they named that big school down there after her. That's Marie H. Reed. And it was just going through this period of changing, becoming Adams Morgan, because it wasn't always named Adams Morgan. This community wasn't always named Adams Morgan. You either went to Adams School or you went to Morgan School.
Yeah.
Or Morgan Annex.
Right.
Which Morgan Annex is now a condo, very expensive. They turned that into condominiums.
And which school did you go to?
I attended Morgan and Morgan Annex.
So did I. And actually, the site where Marie H. Reed is now located, that was Morgan.
Yeah.
For the lower grade kids.
That was like kindergarten through
3rd, 4th, something like that.
Through 5th.
Yeah.
And what were the two schools? What was how would you describe the two different schools, Adams and Morgan?
Well, Adams was a little different. It was up California Street up there.
Yeah.
And it was also a DC public school, but the curriculum at Adams was a little different because Morgan was beginning to try this new curriculum where the kids went from class to class. Instead of staying in one class all day, you would take art from one teacher, take music from another teacher, take another subject each, and you would be mobile as a student. You go from class to class. Yeah, and that brought in the new era. That's one of the ways that this Adams Morgan was changing things around here. And then you had the city council and stuff was being formed. I believe it was changing because I remember people like David Clark, Marie Nahiki, and people like that I would see every day. They were always, I'd be running around the neighborhood and I would see them. Even when I got in trouble, David Clark, he was, I remember him, but that's a whole different story. But I didn't know they were council members. And at the time, David Clark was the chairman of council. Marie Nahiki, and they were running. Her fiance, Maurice, he was like one of my big brothers, took me on this wing, and I would be over their house every day. I would go past there, make my ring. But anyway, that's the type of community it was. Everybody took, the people would take us under their wing.
The village.
Yeah, it was really a village then.
And you said that there were some issues with the heroin. How did you know? Like you were young at the time, right?
Very young.
This was elementary school, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Well, for one, the riots in '68, we experienced them. I experienced 14th Street, U Street, 14th Street. I experienced that being burnt down to the ground, and I didn't understand a lot till later because there was a lot of information, and I can remember the Black Panthers classes and stuff like that.
African Liberation School.
Right, he was in the African Liberation School, but I would go there sometime to eat breakfast on
Mr. Clark, Ron Clark.
Yeah, Ron Clark and all those people that ran Rap Incorporated. He started Rap Incorporated, which is now one of the longest surviving substance abuse programs in the city. It's known as Rapid Addiction, Regional Addiction, something like that. But I think Ron's still operating that pro. He's still living.
Well, I know it's still operating. I don't know.
Yeah, it's on 4th Street Northeast. But anyway, that was going on, and I would see we had a couple of drummers and we had a couple of dancers that were addicted to heroin, and I would also see them. I won't mention any names. It wouldn't be fair to mention. So, but we would often see them,
up close and personal.
Right. We would see them doing their thing, and then when we would ask our parents and ask people in the group, the older guys, they would tell us, because the whole atmosphere was an educational atmosphere at the new thing, everything, and they encouraged us to ask questions and be inquisitive about everything. That's what the new thing was about, so you could broaden your horizon and you could just be in an environment of nurturing your intellect. It was that type of environment. And the community, go ahead, Perry, what were you going to say?
Go ahead.
And the community as a whole was going through this thing of brotherly love and, people coming together to heal, in the aftermath of the riots. And, so it was like the 70s, Black Power, all of this stuff. And the epitome of it was right here in Asmore. So, people were trying to embrace each other to get through that. And it was a pretty interesting community, pretty interesting.
Perry, would you mind telling us a little bit about the African Liberation School and what that was like and how you got involved?
No, I don't mind at all. Well, it was a place, it was really created to kind of like to get young kids out of the neighborhoods from getting in trouble. And they used to have activities like I learned how to do pottery on a potter's wheel. They taught us about rights for black people. They told us a lot of things about cops that weren't fair to people of color. They basically taught us about human rights. The reason they said it was to liberate us so that we will know when we were being treated wrong and, we could identify when we were being treated wrong.
And you, who was running the school, or who were the kind of people who inspired the school?
Well, at the time, there was a guy by the name of Ron Clark.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's Ron Clark?
Yeah, Ron Clark. And actually, that was before it was even a treatment program. It was a day program to teach the young kids. And it evolved into a substance abuse treatment program.
Yeah.
And where was that located?
It was on 17th and Florida Avenue, Northwest.
U Street.
No. Okay, yeah, that's U Street. Right.
Yeah.
It changes to U Street Florida Avenue once you get further up. But yeah, 17th and U.
And the original drug program, the first one, which was like a 2 to 3 year program, live-in program, was on Willard.
Yeah, Willard Street.
Okay. All right, so you all got involved with the new thing. I'm wondering if you might remember the first time you became aware of the new thing and what got you interested in it.
Yeah, I can remember the first time. I was kind of like made to go there by my mom. And the way that happened is Topper and his fiance at the time lived around the corner from us, and they kind of like adopted us as their kids. And being with Betty Garment, she'd come and get us and actually bring us to the new thing. I can remember the first time coming here, I was really reluctant. But once I got here and seen what was going on, couldn't keep me away. Yeah, it was, yeah. I mean, with all the other kids that were there, and it was overall fun. It was a lot better doing that than what I was doing before I found out about the new thing. So yeah, once I went the first time, I was hooked.
And do you remember that first time walking in?
Well, yeah, but the first time walking in, it was in this building right here. And we were introduced to everybody. And as a kid, I was pretty shy. So, I remember being introduced and not really saying much, but saying hi and stuff like that. And Betty showed us all the different programs that they had to offer there, and we became involved in just about all of them. The arts class, the photography class, the film development classes, but the main one was the drum classes. And the African dance and drum class, that's what consumed most of my time once I really became involved. But we still had to go to all the other classes. But yeah, when I came, I was like, this is cool, Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that similar?
Yeah, very similar. And I had heard about Topper Carew, and of course he and Betty, they were an interracial couple, and that was kind of
taboo
going on. I mean, it wasn't really taboo, but you know, they were. Well, they cohabitated together and everything, and they were like a power couple, I think.
Very.
I always looked at them,
Yeah.
the power couple. And they lived right around the corner from us. But that was before we moved to 1802. We were at 1910 Riggs Place.
1810 Riggs Place. Yeah.
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 Okay, so, and so Betty adopted us as, you know, because Betty and my sister Pam, who also was a part of the new thing, my older sister, she's a year. Furry's a year younger than me, and she's a year older than me. So we were like step. And Betty adopted her. And she became our mother outside of our, you know,
Yes.
our immediate mother, because my mother was going through, at the time, she was going through alcohol addiction. And, you know, she and my father. And so we sort of rumbled the neighborhood a lot as kids. And we always get in trouble. And Betty saw that, and she immediately got us. That's what the new thing was really about for kids like us. And she got us, and it's history from there. It's history from there. So I came up here and I immediately got involved in everything, because the new thing was such that you could come here and you could take, for 3 hours, you could take drums. You can go next 2 hours for the next workshop, you could go do graphic arts. I mean, you can go do dancing if the schedule, you know, the scheduled class for dancing was after this and you could make it there on time. You could do several things on a daily basis to keep you so busy. You would never have to, by the time the day was over, you just go home. You'd be so tired, you go to sleep. Because they fed us here. I mean, every day.
Yes.
I ate at McDonald's almost every day. And because we used to have the little cards, and Topper used to give us them. Topper, Betty, all the staff would keep some of those, stack them to give them out to us. So we could go run right up to McDonald's. This same McDonald's been here for many years. We could just take them, go up the street, and they'll feed us. We get the car, get whatever we wanted. And so this was our life.
That's something that I'll never forget with Topper and Betty. What they were doing, they affected the whole neighborhood in a very positive way.
Yes, they did.
All the children in the neighborhood
looked up.
Betty made it her business. Topper made it his business to know them.
Yeah.
To bring them to the new thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I am so grateful for
all type of events.
Yeah, it kept me from being somewhere else, you know? It kept me out of trouble.
And it was proven, the workshops proved themselves.
Yes.
Because there were always exhibits, always concerts, performances. We would travel around the country, things that we never did as a kid. We never would have had the opportunity. The same things that are needed now, because there's nothing new under the sun, and what goes around comes around, and it's coming back around. It's come back around. You know, we know about the epidemic, the drug epidemic now, the fentanyl stuff. See, the new thing, a lot of that, it would have combated a lot of that. It wouldn't be as, I don't believe it would be as deep and as big as a problem as it is if they still had the programs like that. Like the new thing and Ontario Lakers. And for whatever reason, we don't have those things now. I mean,
I want to ask you real quick about what drew you to the drumming. Why did you both get drawn to that of all? I mean, you went to many of the workshops, you said, but you said that was the one.
well, me, I have to be honest. They had some pretty good dancers. I used to love to see the sisters dance. I mean, they could really dance. Matter of fact, they did one show at the cathedral, and Linda, Eric Rabat's fiance, was one of the dancers. I never forget this because everybody teased me. I mean, even though I was a kid, everybody teased me for many years about that. And Linda, they did a dance where the women would come out, the dancers, female dancers would come out and challenge the drummers. They would dance and the drummers would, and Linda was dancing, and they did a thing where she would turn around and shake. They had the grass skirts on, and I was just so captivated. I stopped playing, like, and this was on, this ended up on national TV, I believe.
We talked about that for years.
Yeah, I mean, it was just crazy. I was like 10, 11 years old. So, but that's really what drew me to the new thing, because I always wanted to be a part of something like a group or a band or something like that, because it was also the era of, it was like Earth, Wind and Fire, all the big bands, the Commodores and all. Well, Skip came along later, and things like that I wanted to be a part of, and that was my way of being a part of something big and professional, because we were very professional. It was like I said earlier, it was perfection. They demanded your best perfection, and it gave me a lot of discipline to be a part of that.
For me, it's real simple. That's when I found out how much I love music. You know, when I went in there and I seen the dancing and the drumming, I was like, I gotta do that. It was just the act of what was going on in there at that time, and yeah, it sold me right then and there. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, and I mean I can say I didn't miss many of rehearsals. You know, that's how bought in I was. You know, and I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a period in my life where there was a break in between, but I never let go of what I learned. I always had in the back of my mind that I'm going to play drums somewhere in the future, and that's what I do now. That's exactly what I do now.
Yes.
Could you tell me a bit about Melvin Deal and his role with the drummers and dancers?
Yeah, well, Melvin's an amazing guy. I mean, amazing all-around person, amazing dancer.
Awesome dancer.
Yes, amazing father figure. Sometimes Melvin could act like your mother figure. The things you need to know as a child, Melvin would sit you down, and he always kept his little stick when he danced, and he would sit you down and point that stick at you. And you just grew to love him too. Sometimes you might hate him for a minute because you want to have your way, but he just had a way with people, especially with young people.
Yes.
And Melvin could make you feel like somebody, that you could be whatever you wanted to be. You just had to put the work in.
Yes.
And I tell you, if you ever saw the complete program of the African heritage dancers and drummers, you would see we were totally professional.
Yes.
We were one of a kind, which is probably why it afforded us the opportunity to travel around the country. I remember traveling to most of the universities in the United States as a part of their cultural program. Yeah, when they presented, how each college would have a period where they would invite different cultural activities and stuff. They would always invite the African heritage dancing drummers to come. And Melvin, he was sold on making us be the best we could be, because he said we represent him. And because I think Melvin was working at Howard University at the time, or doing workshops, or going to Howard or something like that. I know he was associated Howard. And Topper recruit, pretty sure Topper went and handpicked him for that. And
he didn't make a mistake, that's for sure.
No, Topper had a way of handpicking and persuading the best to come to the new thing. I don't know how he did it. I want to learn that because I want to do something similar. Or be a part of it, because it's time again, I believe.
Tell me about that. About what the something like the new thing would be like today, or how do you envision something like that working?
Well, me?
Yeah.
Well, thanks to the humanities truck, the vision I have would be, maybe in the beginning, have different trucks. Each truck represent a workshop. That way it could be mobile, and we could take it into
different communities,
different parts of the city where things like those are needed the most. Could pack it up, go, finish for the day, and pack up and leave and go back. And we could do that, and until we could get something permanent, and we would already have the participants hand-picked who's gonna come. And we could, it's nothing wrong with a little bit of duplication. If it worked once, it'll work again. But this time, we would put an emphasis on drugs, gun violence, education, some of the similar things as the new things. No, because new thing covered everything. Topper had a very unique vision, which is why it worked. If it worked once, it'll work again. That's my theory.
The blueprint has already been made.
Yeah,
it's just maybe a little enhancing to it.
You have to tinker it a little bit.
Days, time, the time, different time of the years, but it's the same blueprint.
Similar. Yeah, we would have
even
to change it
to work better.
Exactly, different, because the issues basically the same, but you have more pressing issues now. I think, especially the drug addiction and the young people, but the younger people. You got young ladies, females, young males. They're caught up in something they had no idea. What's hitting them, and you can't rehab your way out of, because rehab just the foundation. Because they're doing now in 30 days, they're attempting to do what they used to do
in 2 years
or a year.
Yeah.
They're trying to say that it really don't take that much time, but we know it's all about the money. But what I believe is that that type of negligence, because of the money part, is a misstep for this community, this country, this city, because no amount of money in the world you can't put a value on the life of those who could and should be the future. A lot of these kids gonna be running the future, are gonna be representing the past. But a lot of them don't make it. They're dying on the street. Their blood's flowing on the street because they don't know. They haven't had the foundation, they haven't had the opportunity. You know, they don't know why. You know, so the education has to start somewhere. And the schools don't teach that. The schools, you know, there's only one school that could get close to what top of them were doing at the new thing. That might be Duke Ellington. But there's some issues at Duke Ellington because of the type of school it is, they can't address them issues.
We need we need to fight for our young people because they're information-wise, they've been misled when it comes to drugs. So yeah, we need to, if necessary, get out there and educate them on what the consequences of using drugs are. You know, I'm sure if they knew what they would have to go through far as being addicted to drugs and trying to stop using drugs, they wouldn't. Information is the key. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. For them to be informed would sway their decisions to do that. So
yeah.
Is there anything I didn't ask you about the new thing that you would like to tell us about?
No, that it will. I believe something similar will be back. Maybe it'll be called the new thing or something. We don't know.
Development.
Right, but reemergence or something, anything. Yeah. But that's about it. Yeah. That's all.
That's it. No, that's good. I actually said what I was going to say about it.
Excellent.
Yes.
All right, thank you both for your time. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.